Hey everyone, welcome back into Sigil of Something. It's been a while since I made some content, putting some stuff out around Silver Age, specifically how Compendium is going to shift Silver Age and how to really bring it into the forefront of the competitive scene for Flesh and Blood. So we're going to explore how Compendium has impacted each class, and today we're going to take a look at the Wizard class. So the nice thing about Compendium of Rathe, if you haven't seen, is there are Marvel Young heroes available in the set. So young Kano gets a Marvel hero, so that's really fun and exciting. So my money will be going to that, which is awesome because I am a Wizard player. But with that said, we got 3 new common and rare Wizard cards. So that first one to look at is going to be the Glyph's Power Spell. Lots of discourse around this on if Oscilio can use this in CC, but there's potential ways to go over the top with if you control a card with Sigil in its names, you're dealing 6 arcane damage. Similar type of line that we've seen with the Meritus Scolding text, coming in a 2 for 4, but if some other condition is met, it's going to come in for 6, this condition being around that Sigil. So Oscilio has ways to get that to happen. There are ways for Verdance to make that happen as well. Maybe aren't going to see that, but again, a potential option for Oscilio to have a big spell at the end of a game, specifically in Silver Age. If you can come in for 6, maybe 7 damage, play a Sigil, Lightning Sigil specifically, and then come in for 7 damage if your opponent is on low AB or maybe doesn't have the blues to pay for it. Pretty strong there. And then these next 2 cards kind of play off each other. Painful Premonition, deal 3 arcane to any target. And then if it deals damage, you create a Sigil of Fate token. And then these Sigil of Fate tokens are super interesting, not only for Sage, but for CC and the game as a whole. So when this leaves the arena opt 1, beginning of the action phase, it's going to be destroyed. So that Sigil text that we've seen many times before, opting is really nice for Wizards. This card, 100%, these next 2 cards feel like Blaze cards, but Blaze is A, not in Compendium, and B is not Sage legal. So we're not going to really focus on that, but again, a way to opt, understand what's on top of your deck if you're trying to go for a Kano activation, or if you're trying to dig for something in multiple different ways. So I see versions of Oscilio running Future Sight to be able to create 3 of those at instant speed in the future, and playing around with that as well. Also, Future Sight and Glyph Power Spell work together in interesting ways. You can pitch a blue, play Future Sight, and then you can go with Glyph Power Spell, going in for that 6 arcane damage, which is pretty strong there. And then also across the board, our Elemental Wizards all got support. So Voltic Veil is a pay 1, prevent 4. Pretty nice there, but it does have that Lightning Bond ability, so if you've pitched a Lightning card, dealing 1 arcane. So again, a way for Oscilio to do arcane at instant speed, which is going to power up his other card, Strike Twice, which is deal 3 arcane. If you dealt arcane, you can play this as if it was an instant. So interesting things that you can do there with that Strike Twice playline. Again, potential to see this card in CC. Are we going to see it in Sage? Not really sure, but there are lots of options available to these heroes as well. Sowing Thorns is going to be the Verdance card. I don't see this card being played in Sage. I think Verdance, it's really not the best wizard to be playing in Silver Age. She just kind of doesn't do anything that's great. She does have the ability with her staff to be able to amp 1, and then if you deal damage, make an embodiment of Earth. And if you're running a lot of Wizard non-attack actions that block for 3, they can come in and block for 4, so a way to maybe slow down the game and create value in that way. But again, I don't see that as being a way to win a lot of games. I think there are interesting things you can do with Verdance, but somebody else besides me is going to have to explore that. And then Icelander gets an instant that creates a Frostbite in an exposed zone, and also Icelander's hero ability creates a Frostbite if you've played a blue card. So a way to create 2 Frostbites, be able to maybe slow down and limit your opponent to do certain things with lots of aggro in Silver Age, kind of being prevalent, whether that be Briar or some of the other Rune Blades, maybe some Ninjas, ways to slow them down, make them pitch for things. You kind of mitigate some damage, which is pretty helpful there. And then across the board, every single class has a rare suite of equipment. Wizards have some, and they're pretty interesting. So they all have this Blade Break condition. They also all have 0 block value. So interesting things that are going to happen here with this. Again, someone besides me is going to explore this. It's close. but when this leaves the head, create a Sigil of Fate, but it leaves when the combat chain is closed. So going to be interesting to see how you can make use of those abilities. And again, same thing with the chest, make 2 resources. The gloves are going to allow you to destroy a target aura, which is pretty helpful if there's maybe a rune chant that you want to deal with. And then I do think the Arcane Barrier 2 legs are going to see play. For the Wizard Mirror, Kano can just put those rather than normal no rune boots. Get Arcane Barrier 2. Maybe you don't have to play a glove slot, a null rune, something like that. Some interesting things that can be played around with that as well. So obviously I think the Aetherstorm Wellingtons is the best piece of equipment, but again, there's lots of options here with these Blade Breaker equipments as well to see maybe ways to play into that, to make use of the combat chain closing multiple times, to get that Sigil of Fate, to get resources to maybe set up kills or other things like that on your opponent's turn, which is kind of that wizard class identity. Painful Premonition, I think it's just a 0 for 3. I think Kano's going to play this more or less, allow you to see a Sigil of Fate, get maybe a little deeper into your deck to set up a kill, whether that be on your turn or your opponent's turn. If you know, like, hey, maybe there's a Red Emeritus Scolding on top, you can kind of set that on top, know it's coming, and then go into the big combo and get over the top that way. But that's the wizard class in Silver Age at the moment. Lots of interesting pieces, lots of tools to play around with, so we'll see how things all shake on out. Obviously, I think Kano is going to be the top premier wizard in the format until things kind of settle out in other ways. We're going to see bans to Silver Age, we're going to see things come and go, so there's a lot to explore with the format, and I'm excited to explore it with everyone else. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.